I'm the founding teacher here at InsightLA. Here happens to be, today we're at the friend's house we were staying with at the beginning of the month. And we're going to be driving back to Jack's house in San Rafael tomorrow. And I look forward to being in the same place for a while. So yes, I'm the founding teacher here at InsightLA. That's my title. I've been away for 2 weeks, so I'm really happy to be back and to see you all again. I wonder how many of you are new to InsightLA today. If you are, raise your hand. I'm just going to take a quick look. Oh, so many people, I can't see your picture. Okay, because your video is not on. If you are new, what we do is some meditation with some guidance, and we'll begin that in a moment, and then some teachings, which I will offer, and then we have a chance for some conversation together, some dialogue. So as we get ready to meditate, just see if you're sitting in a way that you can be comfortable for this half hour. And Effie, I notice you're sitting up, whether that's sitting or lying down, whatever posture you're in. One teacher, Matthew Brensilver, due to his back problems, practiced standing up, and he would go to long silent retreats and just stand for hours at a time because that's what he was able to do. So whatever you are able to do, we're going to offer some loving kindness for the body. I want to talk about embodied practice this morning because there is so much going on in our world, and I think so much anxiety about so many things. And it turns out that the most important thing we can do is to regulate and balance our own nervous systems. So yeah, so let's sit together. We've done this practice together before, and it really is very simple. I'm going to offer some phrases and invite you to just repeat those phrases silently to yourself and to listen to what you're saying. And then as you're saying them, to take a moment to feel them, feel what it's like to embody the kindness, the love, the attentiveness that has some tenderness in it for the body. So closing your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. Just having a downward gaze, eyes partly closed, if that works better for you. Taking a deep breath in and relaxing. And once again. So just settling into being here with our bodies and not just our minds. And we're going to sweep the attention gently through the whole body, offering simple but surprisingly effective wishes, encouragements, supports, reassurances for this body that is living through so much right now, no matter who you are and where you are. So first, bringing attention to the head. to the whole region of the head, face, ears, scalp. May my head be happy. May my head relax and be at ease. May my face relax, my jaw loosen, my brow smooth out, my ears lower, and my scalp relax. May my whole head relax and be at ease. And then gently moving the attention into the whole area of the neck and throat. May my neck be happy, inside and out. May my neck relax, my throat relax, the front, the sides, the back of the neck. May the whole neck relax and be at ease. And now bring attention to the shoulders. There's so much tension we hold in our shoulders. Maybe lift them up to the ears and then just let them gently drop and relax. May my shoulders be happy. May my shoulders relax and be at ease. And now bringing attention to the arms. May my arms be happy. The upper arms, the elbow joints, the forearms and wrists. May each of my arms relax and be at ease. And moving the attention down the arms to the hands. Just feeling both hands wherever they may be resting. May my hands be happy. Thumbs, fingers, palms of the hands, the backs of the hands and knuckles. May both of my hands relax and rest at ease. And now bringing attention to the front of the body. First to the region of the chest. Just feeling the collarbone, the expansion and contraction of the rib cage and lungs. Maybe tuning into the heartbeat. May my chest be happy. May my heart relax and be at ease. May my lungs breathe easy. And bringing attention to the belly and the whole region of the lower abdomen too. May my belly, this whole lower half of the front of my body, be happy. All the organs of digestion, of reproduction. May my whole belly relax and be at ease. Now shifting attention up toward the back of the body, beginning with the upper back, the shoulder blades, just the whole upper back. May my upper back relax, my shoulder blades lower, and the attention just effortlessly drops to the middle back, the thoracic spine, and the lower back. Again, so much tension stored in the lower back. May my whole back be happy and strong. May my whole back relax and be at ease. And then moving the attention gently to the area of the buttocks, the whole area of the hips and the buttocks where we sit. May my hips and my bottom be free from judgment and be happy. And I say free from judgment is so often the clarity of sensation and experience of the body can be blocked or occluded by thoughts about how the body looks. Is my booty too small or my hips too big? No, just feeling what it's like to rest in the sensations of being this body and wishing every part of the body well. And moving the attention to the thighs. May my thighs be happy. The big muscles, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the femurs. May my thighs be strong, relaxed, and at ease. And not to reject or forget the area between the thighs, between the legs. May my genitals be happy, content, relaxed, and at peace. Then moving your attention to the complex, this largest joint, the knees. The front of the knees, the sides, the backs of the knees. May my knees be happy. May my knees be relaxed, strong, and well. And now the lower legs, bringing attention to the shins, the calves, the ankles. May both lower legs be happy, relaxed, at ease. May my ankles be stable and strong. And then sliding the attention down to the feet. Just feeling the tops of the feet, the toes, the bottoms, the soles of the feet, the arches and heels. May both feet be happy. These feet that take me wherever I need to go. May my feet relax and be at ease. May my feet rest right here, right now. And then just bringing attention to the whole body. May my whole body Be happy in this moment, relaxed and at ease. Just gently moving the attention from the toes back up through the whole body, up to the head. Just feeling the sensations of aliveness in the body. And then from the head, just sweeping the attention gently through the whole body back down to the feet and the toes. Aware of any sensations there may be, tingling or fizziness or numbness counts as a sensation. Again, all part of this alive existence we share. So let's take a few moments of just silence, a few minutes, just feeling again the aliveness of the body suffused with these well wishes for the body's well-being, relaxation, contentment, and peace. And if the mind is wandering or distracted, you can gently drop in these phrases of well wishes, just moving through the body in this affectionate way. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. The bell is packed already, so I will just say ding. Thank you. Thank you. Did you do that, Ren? Thank you. So very happy to see everybody and to be back with you. I was so grateful to be sitting together and just dropped in so peacefully. And then toward the end of the sit, all these thoughts kept coming into my mind of how I want to tell you about our vacation. And I got like this surge of restlessness. It was amazing. So thank you, Clark, for hitting the bell. Yeah, I do want to tell you a little bit because Jack and I just came back from, who thought they would have a vacation this year? But we did something we've never done before, which is we rented an RV and took off to visit. Jack had never seen the Grand Canyon and he wanted to go there. And I wanted to show him some of the beautiful canyons of southeastern Utah. And so that's what we did. And at first I was really terrified of the RV. It was 26 feet long. It's actually the size of a medium-sized truck. I thought it was gigantic. And we were both intimidated actually by driving it. Jack's hands got really tense the first day, I think from gripping the steering wheel because it's very tall. And so if a big semi passes you on the highway, you know, it has big springs and it sort of rocks back and forth. And so you have to be way more attentive to the driving than we are automatically in our cars. And when I first drove it, I was just terrified that it would capsize because I wasn't so used to being high up in the, driving. But when we got, and we were so unconfident that we stayed in RV parks the first few nights. And after that, we didn't, but we would just go to, load up on the things you need, like water and dump your waste and stuff. But I will say that when we got to the first RV park, we realized our gigantic RV, who we named Caravanita became her name when we got to the RV park and saw the gigantic vehicles that people were driving, like bus size, tour bus size. I mean, you must need a bus license to drive these things. And then they have something called sliders. They slide out, like you can press a button. Ours had one too, it was a smaller one. You press a button and this whole side of the truck just, I don't know how wide it was, maybe 12 feet. It just like moves out and creates a little living room. Well, some of them had like 3 of those or 4 of those. I mean, they must have been, I don't know, big families in there. But so then we felt ours was quite dainty after that. And I will say that it is completely thrilling to have your own toilet in the national parks. Especially right now is a safe way to travel. We brought food and we did have to go to the store. But I just get up really early and go first thing in the morning, and we only had to go once. And that was also, usually you would have to do laundry maybe once, but thanks to my landlady, Lois, who lives in Escalante, Utah, and who we stopped and visited, we did laundry at her house. And she's quite quarantined. We went on a hike with her. You might have seen the pictures on Facebook. We were not wearing masks, and that's because she works from home and is very quarantined herself. I felt a little self-conscious about those no mask pictures. But one thing that I really wanted to share with you, which you already know, but it gets so overshadowed by what's going on politically in our country right now, which is how beautiful this country is, immense and gorgeous. And the kindness of people in the RV parks, it's like a community. There's almost a family feeling. Like if they see you kind of struggling to connect a hose, people come over. Can I help you? Can I show you how to do that? Um, Incredibly helpful sense of community. At the same time, I noticed that most of the people in the RV parks were older, cisgender, heterosexual couples like us. There were some young families, but they were pretty much all white. The only Black person I met was in the shower in the RV park in Las Vegas. Um, and I just noticed that. But and we didn't socialize with people because obviously we're keeping distant and being as old as we are, very distant. But lots of people, I think, in the RV parks really look forward to meeting each other, finding out who's from where, and just that spirit of kindness and cooperation was really striking. So that's really what I'll share about our trip. And if you have questions, I can answer them later. But it was not an inexpensive way to travel because renting the RV is expensive, and but diesel fuel is not that expensive, and it was a wonderful, wonderful trip. And we got along so well in such close quarters constantly. I mean, there's no escape. and um, and I think we both kind of wondered what it would be like, but it was really amazing to have that kind of uninterrupted time where neither of us was on our devices working. I took lots of photographs and loved it. It was just such a deep pleasure and joyful time. So today I want to talk about, as I said, embodied mindfulness. And the reason for that is because learning how to regulate our own nervous system at this time is so important for us, and especially if you're parents, for your children. I read a book just the last couple days, not a recent book, by Peter Levine called Trauma Proofing Your Child. I thought, can you really trauma proof a kid? And I was just interested. And he's not just talking about the everyday traumas that children inevitably endure, falling. You have to fall when you're learning to walk. It's part of how the nervous system learns to walk. Um, or, just things like, I don't know, having burns or scrapes or cuts, or being clobbered by another kid, or um, just the usual shocks of little kids' lives. Okay, there's those. But he was also talking about bigger traumas, accidents that occur that are not just small accidents, but major ones. And the traumas, I think the book was written after 9/11, but we could certainly was translating it into the trauma of the ongoing stress, and in this case, the stress of a pandemic, and the fears that children have about the virus, and some children being afraid to go outside because they're afraid they're going to die and get sick if they go outside. Um, and it turns out that, surprise, surprise, the most important thing for a child, whether they're in acute distress from a major accident or injury, or just the ongoing stress that we're all feeling, uh, living as we are these days, the most important thing is for us to regulate, learn how to be with the sensations in our own bodies, and in that way calm our own nervous systems. And this, of course, dovetails beautifully with the work that we do in meditation, where we learn to, as Dan Siegel says, open that window of tolerance for uncomfortable sensations or restlessness or the various distractions that happen in the mind. We learn how to be present and attend to those sensations. And inevitably, of course, they shift and change. Not always for the better, but they do shift and change. And being able to know this in our own bodies allows us to transmit that confidence and reassurance to children, and to be able, we understand, or if we don't understand yet, we're learning in our practice that every contraction of fear or pain, it's inevitably followed by some kind of healing expansion into things getting better, things feeling better, and being able to have the confidence to reassure kids, I know this, things will get better, your cut will heal. In fact, it's already healing. The body moves to heal right away as soon as you cut yourself. Uh, I think of the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, who I think she's maybe more popular globally than she is in her own country, but I think everybody in her country too appreciates the leadership that she has offered during this pandemic, where what she does is she communicates skillfully with the people in the country. She communicates and she says, she uses words that don't provide or allude to misinformation. She doesn't offload blame and responsibility for the virus, for what's happening. She tries to comfort and sympathize at the same time as offering strong guidance, firm limits for the country, and reassuring words. So who is this confident leader? This confident leader can be you. It can be me. Right in our own homes, each one of us can be a calm and caring parent to ourselves if we don't have children. And to become one requires a commitment to embodied mindfulness, to compassion, self-empathy, or self-compassion, and I think some optimism about the tough journey that is ahead of us, for sure, no matter who wins the election. And you might think, well, how can I be optimistic? I've heard so many people talking about their fear of civil war. And it's true that in traveling in Utah, it was distressing to see very few people wearing masks, even to see some restaurants with lots of people indoor dining without masks. We weren't in any big cities, but in some of the small towns, that was the case. There was this, I took a photo of one beautiful butte, and way at the top, and it's, this massive geological formations that you see in that part of the country. But way at the top of this butte was a sign that said Trump 2020 and an American flag. Now, these are public lands. Things like this are distressing. But I do feel optimistic. Why? Because optimism calms my nervous system. Optimism, why not? The future is unknown. As one Zen master said, and I love this, he said, if life is a dream, because it passes so quickly, and even if you're really young, like Caroline, you look back on your life and the things that happened before have a dream-like quality, don't they? They're not present and real like this moment here together. He said, if life is a dream, let's make it a good dream. Let's incline the heart in metafied directions. We live in a culture that absolutely fetishizes the youthful body. And so we need to acknowledge the differences in embodiment and the different meanings that embodiment has for each one of us. There are racialized bodies and that feel endangered. There are marginalized bodies that feel either overlooked, annihilated, or also endangered. There's a more subtle obliviousness that we carry as white people. I'm speaking from my location as a white cisgender Jewish woman. A kind of subtle obliviousness that I think many of us are working to dispel to whiteness and the as a collective, and the privilege and impact that comes with that. But mainly, I think it's important not to assume that we're all the same, or that we all want to be the same. And whatever body issues we have, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, addictions, whatever, body issues we have, I think it's helpful for us to take into account, at least those of us in Western culture, this deeply rooted history that we have of um, colonialism, of racial enslavement, of dominance. And this is important, I think, to consider because there's a persistent contribution of this legacy to the sense, the suffering of separation from our bodies, of disconnection from our bodies. So even though it may be more difficult, I don't know, for modern people, I don't know, to be in our bodies, I think most of us are longing to return to a sane and natural way of living. Being in the RV, out in nature, we slept out in wilderness areas. Jack was intrepid about driving down these rutted, sandy dirt roads. And I'd be just like, no, we'll never get out of here. I was more intrepid on land, I will say, for the hiking and going further and stuff like that. So it's a good compliment. But, you know, I think we're longing for the sanity of nature. And we can touch into that in our own bodies, which are, after all, part of an expression of the natural world. The first foundation of mindfulness, the ground of our existence, where we bring our attention, is what? You all know this by now, the body, right? The Buddha said, feel the body in the body, feel the breath in the breath. That sounds cryptic, but what he was really saying is just feel the body from within the experience of being this body, as opposed to the way we often objectify and look at the body. I've talked about this a lot because I feel it in myself, the tendency to look in the mirror and judge or compare, treat the body like a thing, reify it, and it that we relate to that way. So not relating to the body as a concept or something else that we make other than us, but from within, not separated, but from inside that experience of aliveness that we could touch into, I hope, during the meditation together this morning. And mindfulness in this case it's interesting because it's a kind of participatory observation. We're both the subject and the object in this practice, this way of observing ourselves. We both witness and experience the physical sensations, the emotions, the sensations associated with those simultaneously. And the word for mindfulness is sati, which means, as many of you know, it means remembering. And so mindfulness means remember, don't forget. It means just relax and allow yourself to feel right here, right now. Just notice where you are and how it is for you right now. Just see, in this way, can we be present with life as it's unfolding? Remembering to appreciate life as it's happening with this breath, right? This sensation, this sound, this perception, this moment. There's a quote that I love about the depth that mindfulness of the body, it's not just something, the meditation I taught was very simple, but it's effective because it can go deep. This is a quote from a Thai meditation master of the last century named Ajahn Mun, who was one of the teachers of Jack's teacher, Ajahn Chah. And this is a quote that is, at least it used to be, up in the gratitude hut at Spirit Rock. This is where I first saw it. And I love it. Ajahn Mun says, in your investigation of the world, never allow the mind to desert the body. Examine its nature, the nature of the body, the elements that comprise the body. See the impermanence, the suffering, the selflessness of the body. And see this when you're sitting, when you're walking, when you're standing, when you're lying down. All the four postures of our existence. I added that. Then the body's true nature is seen fully and lucidly by the heart. The wonders of the world will become clear. In this way, the purity of the heart can shine forth, timeless and delivered. We went on a trip and witnessed the wonders, some of the wonders of nature. But every time we meditate, we can go on a little trip and witness the wonders of this body, the intelligence that knows which enzymes to release when, and that heart muscle that just knows to keep beating until it doesn't. And so, and I just want to say that the role of silence is important, of stillness, because one of the biggest obstacles to mindfulness of the body, or anything really, is getting lost in the contents of our thoughts. We all know what that's like, getting lost and distracted in the content of our thought and losing touch with the body. Now, subordinated cultures and people with trauma may have a history of experiencing silence as oppressive. If you've been abused and you were told not to tell, you have to be silent. Or even just a family dinner table where mistakes were punished with silence, the silent treatment, we say. But we're not talking about that kind of silence. We're talking about beginning to access the space between our thoughts, around our thoughts, the space from which thoughts emerge and emotions. I'm using thought and emotion kind of interchangeably here. And the Buddha said that within this fathom-long body, this very body that we inhabit, we can awaken to the deepest truths of life. We don't have to go on an RV vacation to awaken to the deep truths of life. We don't have to go to a retreat center in a long silent retreat. They're not happening right now. That just by our willingness to experience both the pleasures, the bliss, and the aggravation of embodiment, the trust that pain or illness or suffering in the body is not a mistake, that these experiences, sometimes more than pleasure, can be doorways into understanding impermanence, the dancing, changing, ephemeral nature of body sensations and body-based being, actually. And it can be a way to experience some moments of freedom from identity, the identities that otherwise determine so much of our experience in this life, our relational experience, and so much of our destiny, too. Everything that we need to know to wake up can actually be known, felt, experienced through the body. And our consciousness is hanging out right here with our bodies. How miraculous. And, I could go on and on about this. There are actually more things that I want to share with you about embodied mindfulness. So I think I'm going to stop here. No, I'm going to say one more thing. Then I'm going to stop for today and continue next week what the teachings that I would like to share so that we have a chance for some exchange together. And what I want to stop with is a quote from, let's see, I have it here. I'm going to stop with a quote from Ram Dass. Ram Dass, whom I miss so much, a teacher of mine who passed away. It'll be a year ago in December. To get from ego to the true self, I say, I am loving awareness. Loving awareness is my heart and soul. I am loving awareness. This is a meditation he teaches, by the way, to just say these words like a mantra. I am loving awareness. I am aware of everything. I'm aware of my body and my senses and my mind. I'm aware of all of it, but I notice that I'm loving all of it. I'm loving all of the world. The self that I identify with emanates from the ocean of love. The self that is the ego is the ocean of fear. And I think that's why I encourage optimism. This is obviously me speaking as an antidote to fear, because in our deepest sense of what's true, in our deepest experiences of meditation, it's love, not fear. So Ram Dass goes on, when I am loving awareness, I'm aware of everything outside, but pulling into the heart, the spiritual heart brings me to loving awareness. I'm aware of my thoughts, but loving awareness is simply witnessing them. And loving awareness is in the moment. Of course, I have thoughts about the past and future, just like I did when I was meditating this morning and kept thinking about how much I want to tell you about our vacation. Of course, I have thoughts about the past and future, and those are not helpful. So I dive deep into the present, and the present moment, in this present moment, we will find loving awareness. Only this moment is real. This moment of loving awareness. The past and future are just thoughts. So that is what I wanted to share with you this morning. And now I want to open to some exchange with those of you who might have something to share from your experience of your own meditation practice, your own RV vacation, just kidding, or your own, any questions that you have. You can, Caroline will call on you. You can use the chat function in the participant down at the bottom of your screen. There's a raise hand function, excuse me, not the chat, the participant place. You can, and Caroline will call on you and you can unmute yourself.
Trudy, it looks like Rick has a question in the chat, and then we can move to Gabby, who's raising her hand.
Okay. Oh, I'll read it. I thought you were going to read it. I'll read it. La 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 la. Where is it? Okay, here. Trudy, what would you say to people who claim that fear is a more reliable inspiration to casting votes as opposed to optimism? At this point, Rick, I would say whatever inspires you to vote, just vote. Whether it's fear or optimism, I don't know. I don't know which works best. I know that some politicians are very prone to using fear to manipulate people. That's definitely an effective tool, but those same people rarely use meaningful optimism that's connected to meaningful, real policies and programs that make life better. That's all I would say. Maybe you have something to say. You can put it in the chat if you do.
Thank you. Gabby, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and share.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Welcome, Trudy. I'm really glad you went to see the Grand Canyon with Jack, and that's exciting. I love that area myself. It's amazing being there. Like time doesn't exist, nothing. Like you're just there. My question had to do with I did a silent retreat from home. It was my first retreat, and
oh, good for you.
Yeah, it was interesting. And one of the teachers was saying that, you're not your body. But in my mind, I kept saying, well, then what am I? And I asked the instructor, like, what do you mean by that I'm not your body? Like, you're not your body. And couldn't give me a clear answer. And I was wondering, from your point of view, is one of the foundations of mindfulness that you are, mindfulness in your body. So I didn't understand that statement, you're not your body in Buddhism.
Yeah, that's confusing, and I'm sorry the instructor couldn't clarify it for you. The way that I understand it, Gabby, is it's the same thing. You could say you're not your emotions, you're not your thoughts. Of course, we have thoughts, emotions arise. We have a body. There is a body. This is real. There is a body, or none of us would be here sitting together. But we're not only our body, we are more than the body. And maybe what the instructor was pointing to is the way that when we're in pain or there's illness in the body is unwell, it can really pull the attention into the body so strongly that we forget that we have the capacity for loving awareness. We forget that we have the capacity to observe. And we just get completely, pulled into that experience. I'm not sure where they were coming from, but my understanding, I think for your purposes right now, you could just say, I'm not only the body. I'm much more than this. I'm not only my thoughts. I'm much more than this. My true nature is vast, actually as vast as the Grand Canyon. Our inner world is vast. We just don't usually get to spend 2 weeks exploring it. Great blessing if you get to do that. So I'm happy that you did a retreat, and I hope that's a little helpful to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ronnie, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and share.
Hi. I have a response to the last question, if I can say it. I think that the reason the instructor may have said you're not your body, it's the same with every single quality. We're not our bodies. We have a body. We have a mind. We have emotions. We have all these things, but what's housing these things is much bigger. It's housing all of it. And that's, you can call it the spirit, the soul, whatever you want to call it. But I look at it like we have all of these things, but
yeah, that's sort of what I was trying to say too, Ronnie. I agree. Do you have any question about it, or you're just sharing your understanding?
No, I was just sharing maybe to help clarify a little. I don't know, but that's how I view things that we have,
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing, Ronnie. I think Anil has a question. If you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sure. Hi. Actually, not a question, but because your talk today was so on point with the 8-week course that I just finished, and I see Annie is in this class as well, and maybe some others are joining us from Christiane's MBSR course, the 8-week course, which really just your Dharma talk today just dovetailed perfectly as a wrap up. So thank you. It was really great. But so for everybody else that's on here, that coursework, that 8-week course, either by Christiane or anybody else that's doing it through Insight, is really a great tool for understanding that emotional body relationship. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations on completing. That's an intensive That's our most intense training for beginners, the MBSR class. So along with congratulating Gabby on her retreat, I want to congratulate you on completing that and encouraging others to take that. It's really, it's a great program. You know, I was blessed to be part of the very beginning days of that program at University of Massachusetts Medical School with John Kabat-Zinn. It was just starting out. We didn't even call it that in those days. We called it stress reduction and relaxation. We didn't even have mindfulness as a thing, you know. Yeah, thank you and congratulations.
Before we go on to the next question, I just wanted to give a couple announcements. So after the discussion ends around 12:30, we'll take a bit of a break for 10 minutes, and then you're welcome to come back for a little discussion in breakout rooms to enjoy your lunch until about 1:30ish or 1:15ish, depending on how long the discussion takes. And then I also wanted to announce two upcoming events through Insight. The first one is Buddhist teaching series, Insight into What? And so that's been an ongoing series. And then the next one is Changes and Transition Workshop, Navigating Life Changes for You in Your 40s, 50s, and 60s. I'll drop the links in the chat for additional details. And then once again, because Insight is a nonprofit, we do rely on your donations to support and be able to put on these kind of events. So we really appreciate your generosity, and I'm adding the announcements down below. But I believe Meredith has a question. So if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, and we can continue the discussion.
Thank you, Caroline. Hi, Meredith.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you again. Glad you
Nice
had
to see you
great
too.
time. Thank you.
We did. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm somewhat envious, but there you go.
I know, I would be too.
Yeah, why not? Well, there are a lot of reasons why not, but okay.
You know, it's just one of those feelings we have, right? Like Ronnie was saying.
Yes. Yes, it is. It also, if I have my wits about me, allows me to remember that I'm not really appreciating myself. Lots of times when I'm envious, I'm lost in they have, she has, he has, is, will be, you name it, you know, more, better, something that I don't have. And poor me, you know, so that's why I said that. And it's good to remember it's one of those feelings. So speaking of feelings, so I've been in a huge emotional tangle since I don't know when, maybe Friday or Thursday. And during the meditation right now, I just felt, I stayed with, after going through the body some, a couple of times, I stayed with my brainstem and brought compassion to her. And I still need to untangle the very painful emotional tangle, but I had forgotten that actually, you know, I had attached to fear, because a lot of the tangle is fear, and fear and anger and confusion, and I wouldn't do my loving kindness meditation. I was like, oh no, I can't. But I'd forgotten. And then this morning, it's a solve. It's so sweet. Sweet isn't quite do it. You know, I never knew that I could, with my own, with kindness, relax and comfort my brainstem. And it went right into my eyes because I don't know, it seems to me they're really connected. So there's that. And I also want to say, and so thank you. You know, may my this or that or whatever part of me be happy. I'm really super grateful. I've been a nanny for, I mean, I'm not now, but I have been. And sometimes it's hard to find without argument or, you know, getting into my head about it. What is happy in the body? You know, what does that feel like? And I have the pleasure, the luxury of remembering taking care of so many babies, and they're, you know, on the whole, really comfortable in their bodies. And it's not a big deal. They're just having a pretty good time on the whole, you know, they scream and yell like the rest of us. But that I just want to say, you know, and it's not infantilizing. That's such a word.
No,
It's
no.
something, it's a sensation, it's a memory, body memory. And also with brokenhearted children, it's anyway, how open they are with their vulnerability. But most of all this morning, and I'll try and be fast, is I've had you on my mind, and I hope this isn't too personal, but I really want to thank you, because once, as I am going to today, was going to go over and take care of this elderly gentleman I care for. And I was upset about it, and you said something about it might be connected, the upset might be connected to the reality that I needed a dad as a person. And my dad was very emotionally ill and couldn't be a dad.
So Meredith, I have some responses to what you're saying. So I want you to finish up so I can respond, because you've said some really good things.
Well, thank you. But I've been very defiant and afraid of my defiance after so many years of therapy. Like, I don't need you. And I just want to say such a deep, deep thank you. I didn't need what was going on around me. I so profoundly needed parents. I so profoundly needed, it wasn't just my dad, you know, and it looked like you caught me in midair, you know, by coincidence or whatever, and said, like, it's okay. Yes, you did. You know, it's just,
yeah.
And I just, you know, I'm very, very grateful. So I wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And I am really, first of all, I'm really happy to hear that. And secondly, you're pointing to what children need. Very simple reassurance, confident and simple reassurance. Yes, of course. When your dog bit you, that was such a shock, of course. But as soon as the bite starts to bleed, it's actually getting better. Or do you know what I mean? That kind of reassurance. And when you talked about your brainstem, that was so right on, because what Peter Levine's work is addressing with trauma is the reptilian, the brain stem, that is the one that is wired only for our survival, only for our survival, and doesn't understand any nuances, you know, beyond fight, flight, flee, whatever contributes to our survival. So that is actually, that was very beautiful when you spoke about that. I didn't, because I didn't, you know, want to go in the details of trauma, but because what we have besides our vulnerability that you're pointing to, huge vulnerability of children especially, but all of us, is our resilience. And trauma that's met with understanding, compassion, reassurance, confidence turns into resilience for those kids. And so as an aunt, yeah. So thank you.
Go ahead. No, you were going to say.
No, that's enough. Thank you.
Okay.
It's beautiful what you said.
I just want to say kids also need to know that someone is really there with really them.
Absolutely, 100%. I will not leave your side until you feel better.
And I hear you.
Yeah.
I think you're really you are really interesting. You're funny. I love you, and I won't let you fall.
I love you too, Meredith. I know you were talking to the children, but I love you.
I love you too. And you can.
Thank you.
Yeah, my
Thank you,
pleasure.
Meredith, for sharing. We're so happy to have you today, and all the positivity you bring every week. And Sherry, if you want to share shortly, just to make sure we can get to other people as well.
Yes, I just wanted to say something, Trudy, about the envy emotion on retreat with you years ago. You said something that got my attention in such a strong way when you said that envy is actually a form of stealing from yourself. And, you know, like when we're busy thinking about what other people have, we're missing out on our own experience. And that has just stuck with me and it just popped up in my thinking so many times. And it was really one of the most helpful things ever.
Oh, thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Yeah, it's whenever we're comparing or envying,
Mhm.
we're losing connection to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I forget things I say.
I've quoted
And you never know what's going to be meaningful
I
to
know,
somebody,
right?
you know.
I've quoted you many times, including when I do group therapy. So.
Oh, good. That makes me happy. Thank you, Sherry.
If no one else has a question, I have a question for you, Trudy, about during the day when you notice, you're tied up in thoughts or emotion. What times of the day would you say it's most important to kind of find that grounding in your body, and how can you do it most effectively?
What do you think from your own experience? Since you're a mindfulness practitioner and studier, student, I mean.
I think for me, it starts with like catching yourself and generating that awareness. I think, like for me, it's the ability to have that awareness is what I'm still working on. Techniques
Sure.
like ground my body. I'll do a little body scan from the internet, but or like I'll work out that, can usually help settle myself and bring me more into my body. And in terms of like effectively applying those tools during the day, I find working out in the afternoon helps, and then like meditating, I usually do that in the morning, but I notice the effects kind of wear off as the day goes on, and I didn't know if you have any personal tips on maintaining that sense of groundedness in your body.
Well, I think, first of all, you're finding your way. It's definitely true that doing some kind of physical movement helps a lot. Even just, if you're working at your computer, just getting up and moving. I don't know, I guess at least every hour. I was thinking, do I do that? I try, but the time sometimes slides by and I don't notice. But I think the main thing is just what you already know, but remembering to touch into the body, remembering to be mindful just of the simple sensations of, I don't know, I'm holding a book, just the book in my hand, or, buttering your toast, the knife, the butter melting, the whole sensory, opening the senses to the sensory experience of the moment. I also find that doing retreats periodically, if it's one day, a weekend, a week, whatever it can be, that taking some more extended time, even half a day to practice, then it kind of seeps into your life more regularly. For people, if you're not talking, if you can remember to remute yourself, that's helpful. So yeah, that's what I would say, Caroline. And then I want to just speak to Gina's question. Oh, you have your hand up. So I guess, do we have a minute for Gina?
Yeah, Gina, go ahead.
I was actually just raising my hand just to make sure that it was that the note was
I saw
looked
your
at in the
question.
chat. Yeah. So go
Yeah.
ahead. You could just go ahead and read it out loud. That's fine.
Okay, the question says, hi, Trudy. I waved back and forth between focusing on mindfulness versus going into my trauma and doing inner child work. Do they go hand in hand? Should we work on mindfulness first or inner child work first? Okay, so first of all, you've answered your own question. Yes, they go hand in hand. Definitely, they go hand in hand. I would say, though, that when you're doing your inner child work, whatever you use as a kind of resourcing for yourself so that you are staying present and connected to what's so, understanding that your trauma is not now, it was then. That's a form of mindfulness, that they actually, it's not like you alternate, they really do work together, where you are being mindful of the level of activation in your body and mindful of the need to ground and resource. And, it's like that oscillation between contraction and expansion. Contraction being the tension and tightness and trauma, and expansion being the relaxation into resilience. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's how I would see it. I see them, the mindfulness can accompany your inner child work. And yet I would also encourage you to take a break from that work and just let yourself do very simple loving kindness or mindfulness meditations. If you're doing mindfulness meditation, stay attuned to and alert to your surroundings. Like maybe leave your eyes partway open, so that you don't disappear into memories and flashbacks and things. But loving kindness is also really, really helpful, like we did this morning, loving kindness for the body. So yeah, I think you kind of answered your own question, which is the best when the wisdom comes from you. So now I want to invite all of us to just take a moment to meditate together just for a minute. We like to close our time together this way. So during this closing meditation, we also do what's called dedicating the merit. And that means offering the goodness of our practice. And we do this through an act of the imagination, where we just imagine whatever was good about this period of study and practice together, whatever was productive, beneficial, useful to you, whatever you might have learned and experienced that, was helpful, that we savor and appreciate this, that we feel grateful to, and that the way that we express that gratitude is by offering, sharing in this imaginative way, sharing the goodness of our practice with all beings everywhere, without exception. May we and all beings choose loving awareness whenever we can. May we identify with loving awareness as much as possible as a way of holding, containing, reassuring the body of fear. And I'll come back to the Ram Dass quote in closing. Only this moment is real. This moment of loving awareness. The past and the future are just thoughts. Clark, will you ring the bell again? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We can unmute ourselves and say goodbye. I will not be joining the breakout groups today. I have to pack and get ready. We're going to drive up to Jack's tomorrow, and I look forward to speaking to you from there next Sunday. So have a wonderful week, everybody. Stay
Same to
with
you.
the body of
Bye.
love.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Trudy,
Hey.
Wow.
loved hearing about the RV.
Oh, good.
That was
I missed
amazing.
it. I miss our little RV paradise.
Kept wondering.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Till
you.
Sunday.
Bye,
And
Trudy.
thank you all for your practice. Thank you so much.